Bitcoin is the most cooperative, most ethical, most inspirational network in the world. Every time someone joins the network and contributes their capital to the network, all the rest of us become more powerful, more secure, and more successful.
What if I told you there's a global revolution quietly turning, not with violence or headlines, but with math, code, and belief? And every time someone joins, the entire system gets stronger. This isn't science fiction. It's Bitcoin. And Michael Saylor is here to tell you why we may never see a moment like this again. In a world drowning in fiat and fading trust, Michael Saylor paints Bitcoin not just as a digital asset, but as an unstoppable network that amplifies itself with every new believer. Imagine a massive drive shaft turning, powered by pure capital. Every $50 million that enters the system, it spins. And when it spins, everyone in the network rises. Not metaphorically, literally. Their businesses become more powerful, their strategies pick up speed, their countries start noticing. The price goes up not because of hype, but because there are no natural sellers left. The only way to find a new seller is to raise the price. GameStop, MetaPlanet, 21 Capital, all turning the same shaft, all fueling a singular fire. And the shocking part? They're not competitors. They're missionaries, each orange pilling their own country, their own economy. And here's where it gets personal. Saylor isn't giving up MicroStrategy's core business, even though the Bitcoin treasury dwarfs everything else. Why? Because we love our customers. We love what we do. Bitcoin gives us the wealth to keep doing it, without fear, without shortcuts, he says. It's not just about money, it's about freedom. The freedom to show up every day not because you have to, but because you want to. If you think the world still doesn't get it, drop a "we're still early" in the comments. Don't let this moment pass you by. Share this video with someone who still doesn't understand. And if you believe in Bitcoin forever, subscribe. The future is coming faster than you think. Let's get all the insights from Michael Saylor.
So I could say, hey, it's like electricity. We have electricity. Every company's going to use electricity. Why would I be threatened? But that would be a much weaker metaphor than the real metaphor. The real metaphor is there's only 450 Bitcoin available per day. There is a drive shaft that's turning the entire network. Every time $50 million of capital flows in the Bitcoin ecosystem, we turn it once. So Nakamoto raises $1 billion and they turn that 20 times, right? And when GameStop raises 500 million, they turn that shaft 10 times, right? And when 21 raises their 3 billion, they turn it again. And so we're turning the drive shaft, which is lifting everyone, because once the $50 million of capital comes into the network, there are no natural sellers left. Now the price must go up to find a new seller. As the price goes up, everybody in the network becomes that much wealthier and that much more powerful, and all of their business strategies catch energy and momentum. So everyone will pursue their own strategy. The MetaPlanet people raise capital from the Japanese market. I couldn't sell into the Japanese market. They're not competing with me. They're orange pilling the Japanese investors. There'll be Bitcoin treasury companies in Brazil. There'll be Bitcoin treasury companies in France and Canada. They're all bringing their unique value proposition, and they will help their nation, their shareholders, but ultimately the final beneficiary is always Bitcoin and the Bitcoin holder, and everything that is a derivative of Bitcoin will benefit from that. So I think we're in the early days where there's a dozen companies pursuing this hard and there's 100 pursuing it lightly. But one day, every public company will flip to the Bitcoin standard from the local fiat standard. And they'll do it because 25 years out, fiat sovereign debt will yield 3% and have a 3 vol, and Bitcoin will be 20% with a 20 vol, and it will still be 7, 8, 10 times better to be on the Bitcoin standard, even after 20 years of all of us doing what we're doing. So I'm not at all concerned. I think it's great for all those companies will be successful if they don't make a rookie mistake. You still got to execute, but they're more likely than not to be successful. They will all pursue a different strategy. We will all learn from each other. We will all benefit each other. The ultimate beneficiary is the entire Bitcoin network.
Of these companies, they have a core business that ultimately they end up being, insignificant compared to their treasury. For strategy, why is it still important to have a cash flowing business, and why not just sell it for more Bitcoin?
We love our customers. We love the business. The business, it's important to our customers to keep upgrading the software. It makes us money. And it's kind of like the example I gave of the dentist. If you're a dentist or a doctor and you love your work and you invest in Bitcoin and you're smart about it and you get insanely rich, you may still want to show up to work because you like having it to do. If you were an artist, you would want to paint. So if you love what you're doing, you're going to keep doing it. Everybody's got their operational business, right? Their day job. If you get delight from what you do and you get a lot of positive feedback from your audience, you'll continue to do it. And Bitcoin will empower you, endow you with the wealth to do that without fear or anxiety or without taking short-term shortcuts.
And obviously you've helped many of these companies, get the Bitcoin standard and become mini strategies. Would strategy ever consider acquiring stakes in these companies as an investment?
Our business strategy is to be 100% Bitcoin. And so we will always buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is our hurdle rate, and there are a couple of reasons for that, really almost three. One, we want to be neutral because I want to help hundreds of companies, and I can't afford to play favorites, and I don't have enough time to be invested in just 3 of them. The second is all of our credit instruments we sell, those are all based upon a homogeneous credit risk. You're holding Bitcoin. Are there any complications? No. If I were to invest in 22 things, then there would be 25 pages of disclosures for each thing, and there'd be 250 pages of consideration. And I don't want to complicate the decision my investors make. I want to be hyper transparent. If one of them were to work differently than Bitcoin, if it was better or worse, the company becomes opaque. And it becomes opaque, it's hard for people to understand and to trust us. See, part of our value proposition is because you know exactly what we're going to do, if you disagree with it, you can short us with 20x leverage. And if you agree with it, you can go long with 20x leverage. And you could put on $1 billion bet that's good for 4 weeks. The last thing you want is for me to say, oh, we're investing in a new business and we're very excited. And it might, and it just screws up that guy's $1 billion bet and that guy's $1 billion bet. And now they're like, I can't trust the company. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm just going to sell. I don't want to play the game. So our job is to be neutral, Switzerland with regard to the ecosystem, and make everybody successful, but also to be laser-like in our business model, which is we're going to create equity, which is going to be levered Bitcoin. We're going to attempt to outperform Bitcoin with leverage. And we're going to create credit instruments that strip volatility and risk and performance off of Bitcoin. And we're going to keep doing it the same way. And I think all these other businesses are great opportunities for private equity investors, venture capital investors. They have other pools of capital that is not invested in Bitcoin. The way you could think of it is my $65 billion of Bitcoin is pledged to support the equity and to support the bonds and support the preferred stocks. And I need to make sure that pledge remains inviolable. And I need people to say, that's what they're going to do for the next decade. And if I believe that, then I will buy something and I will hold it for a decade or 20 years or 30 years. We want people to know what we stand for. And this is what we stand for, Bitcoin forever.
You also recently said it would be unsafe to do proof of reserves. However, your Bitcoin treasury strategy competitors, MetaPlanet and 21 Capital, are both doing proof of reserves. Do you think they're making a mistake?
I think it's just a complicated subject. It depends on the size of the company, the capital market you're in. It depends on the scope of your operations, and it depends upon your regulators. For us right now, it's important to note that a public company selling an equity has to post a proof of assets and a proof of liabilities that's audited and signed off by the auditors with the annual report every year and with the 10Q every quarter. When you post that, that has to be signed by the officers, but with an attestation under Sarbanes-Oxley. And then all of the related parties to the officers and directors have to be disclosed. So you see, you couldn't reasonably make an investment in a public company without knowing there are no related parties, without knowing there are no side agreements, without knowing the scope of all the liabilities, and then all the assets. And that's the best practice. And that's generally what equity investors, big ones in the US, expect. I think that the proof of reserves offers you the chance to see what's in a wallet. What it doesn't do is solve the question of, are there liabilities against the wallet? Are there related parties that own part of the wallet? Are there any side agreements that are in the wallet? And you can't ever really know that without a full audit. So I think they will do it. There will be some benefits for people to publish it. There will be security complications because, I wouldn't recommend any individual go on X and publish their Bitcoin wallet address to the world because you would have everyone tracking you. I think that we will learn from what everybody does. And I think the great thing about the ecosystem is with this many companies, there are some companies going to try different strategies. For example, people will do things that my lawyers would tell me I can't do or I shouldn't do. And so they will do it. And if it works, then I will take that and go back to my attorney and say, look, it worked. The regulator said it was okay. The banker said it was okay. It worked, and maybe we should do it. And if it doesn't work, then we'll say, well, I guess the lawyers or the accountants or whatever are right. So I think we're still early days, and we'll see how it all works out.
Only time will tell. Speaking of time, what is the most interesting or coolest thing that you've learned about Bitcoin this year?
I think the coolest thing that I've learned about Bitcoin this year is just the incredible diverse appeal that it has globally, right? The number of actors, from people in Brazil, actors in Mexico, actors in Pakistan, actors in the Middle East, actors in France and the UK, the explosion of excitement about Bitcoin treasury companies. I meet someone like, yeah, I'm doing this in UAE, I'm doing this in Hong Kong, I'm doing this in UK, I'm doing this in Norway. Like the explosion of that, and then every time you see an exciting announcement, a soccer team that's embracing Bitcoin, GameStop embracing Bitcoin, the mayor of the biggest city in the United States embracing Bitcoin. This is a classic example of a viral, explosive phenomena. There's no way you can stop an idea whose time has come, and you see indicators this year that the time has come for this idea.
And what would you say your hottest take on Bitcoin is?
Most of the risk, if not all of the risk, in my opinion, has been stripped off it in the past 4 years, especially over the past 12 months. And yet, most people don't appreciate this fact, right? So we're at a very critical inflection point where you already know the banks will embrace it, the insurance companies will embrace it, the governments will embrace it. The accounting professionals embraced it, Wall Street has embraced it, companies have embraced it, international markets have embraced it. You can see it all, and yet the conventional investor, the mainstream media, they still don't get it yet. And so this is like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where you can know something. You know the future. It's very clear, You know why the future is clear, and everybody else just doesn't see the future yet.